Welcome, readers. Today on Book Chat, Casey and I are diving into the book There's Someone Inside Your House, and we are also comparing it to the Netflix movie adaptation. Stay tuned. Today's episode is sponsored by I Found This Great Book, a directory of Black mystery authors featuring over 580 titles. If you're a fan of audiobooks like me, browse the 175 books in the directory that are available now in audio format. Browse by author, style of mystery, including hard-boiled, cozy, supernatural, and more, or even browse like in a bookstore by scrolling through the books until you see cover art that jumps out at you. Visit the special link especially for Shelf Addiction listeners by visiting ifoundthisgreatbook.com/Shelf Addiction to find your next favorite mystery. Support Shelf Addiction by supporting our sponsors. So head on over to ifoundthisgreatbook.com/Shelf Addiction and peruse the directory of Black mystery authors. The link is also in the show notes. Hey everyone, I'm your host, Tamara Ford, and welcome to Book Chat here on the Shelf Addiction Podcast. Participate in this discussion by joining the Facebook group Shelf Addiction Official. I hope to hear your thoughts on today's topic. You can always find me and Casey on Twitter and Instagram. The links for everything I've mentioned are below in the show notes. If you enjoyed today's episode, please support this podcast by sharing it with some book nerd friends or on your favorite social media space. That would really help me out, and I appreciate you for doing so. The uncut video version of this podcast is available now on Patreon. Join us there for exclusive videos, including after shows and more. So if you're interested in that at all, you'll need to come on over to Patreon and sign up. Without further ado, let's get started. We've got a lot to cover today, so we are going to jump right on in. Joining me is feature co-host Casey from Heart Full of Ink. Welcome back, Casey.
Hello. I'm so excited to be here.
Hey.
I know I always say that, but I love it here.
Love having you here. You won't believe this, but this was actually worse. Yesterday, the day before yesterday, it's bad. So I'm sipping water and tea, and I might pop a lozenge in my mouth. I might hit mute, all of the above, but I'm here. We're going to do this podcast.
She's here. She's doing it. She's doing this for you.
Yeah, so, sorry in advance, you guys. Hopefully it's not too distracting and you can still get into what we're talking about.
Because this will be a fun discussion today.
Yeah, it will. So today we are going to go back to what we were doing a couple months ago, and we are going to compare a book to its movie adaptation.
Yes.
Yeah, so this was an interesting one, and we did it especially, we picked this because it's the Halloween time, it's fall. I think you guys are hearing this on November 3rd or something like that, but
3rd.
Yeah, we are recording this
3rd.
On Halloween weekend. It's Friday night. And let's tell you about the book. So we are discussing There's Someone Inside Your House, written by Stephanie Perkins. It was first published September 26, 2017, published by Dutton Books by Young Readers. The audiobook was published by Listening Library. The hardcover came in at 287 pages, and the audiobook, unabridged, came in at 9 hours and 26 minutes, narrated by Bonnie Turbin. Now, Casey, would you please share the synopsis?
Yes. It's been almost a year since Makani Young came to live with her grandmother, and she's still adjusting to her new life in rural Nebraska. Then, one by one, students at her high school begin to die in a series of gruesome murders, each with increasing and grotesque flair. As the body count rises and the terror grows closer, Can Makani survive the killer's twisted plan?
Is that it?
That's it.
Lord,
short
okay.
And sweet and to the point.
I guess this book was supposed to be short and sweet and to the point.
It was not.
It was not.
Do you want me to explain why we picked this or how we picked this?
Go ahead.
So many, many moons ago, I read Stephanie Perkins, and it was very, very cute fluffy, sweet, young adult rom-coms, Anna and the French Kiss, Lola and the Boy Next Door, And then I never read anything else by her ever again, just because I don't know, life. So we were looking at things to do, and I saw that Stephanie Perkins had written this book and that it was a new movie out on Netflix. So I went like 10 years without reading anything by this author. And then I was like, oh, she has something out on Netflix. Let's read it and watch it because it's a thriller and it's Halloween. I'm sorry. Apparently, I'm just like really bad at picking things for us to read. Like I'm on a winning streak of not good stuff. So I apologize.
Hey,
you can torture me later with other shit.
Like you can't even tell though. Something looks good from the outside and then it's not good on the inside. You can't tell.
Not at all.
Okay, so my first impression of this book after I finished it was like, honestly, that took way too long to get going. Like the setup for this book was like half the book. I'm like, it's too much.
Well, they discovered who the killer is at the 50% point. Because as soon as I discovered it, I checked my mark in my ebook and I was like, wait, literally at like 51% of the way through the book, and we now know who the killer is. What the fuck are we going to do for the second half of the book? And well, he goes around killing more people, and it's just crazy. And
it's just this slasher. It's like a teen slasher story, okay? But it wasn't well told, in my opinion. Okay, I know we usually don't compare it to the book this fast, but in the book, to the movie, excuse me, but in the movie, they pretty much jumped right in with someone dying. Bam, someone died. That's a different person than who died in the book. But we didn't have to go and hear Makani's long ass sad story at the beginning. We didn't have to, the way her history was fed to us in the movie was smarter than the book because, we kind of got flashes and then we got the story. This, it kind of like everything was set up and it's like, well, what did the girl do? Her grandmother is all wacky. It was just so much time with that. And then so much time with Ali in this relationship. I'm like, okay, is this relationship even fucking important or no? I don't know. YA, man.
YA. It is so teenage angsty. And I guess that comes from her rom-com years, although it's a very different type of rom-com. I don't know. I remember thinking her other books were just like super cute. And this one, the relationship was kind of cute, but also just very over the top, very annoying, very much just like, come on, guys.
I didn't think the relationship was cute at all. So at first with the descriptions of everyone, I'm like, so does Ali have the pink hair or did someone else have the pink hair? It took me like a couple chapters to figure out who was who just in how they described the little friend group. And then I'm like, oh, so she slept with this dude all summer and then just stopped talking to him. I'm like, what the fuck? This is lame as hell. Like, what was your reason exactly? Like, it was dumb.
Miscommunication. They looked into each other's eyeballs across the room and miscommunicated and then ignored each other for months. And I'm just, can we kill this trope off? Like, just kill off the miscommunication trope.
I mean, at least give me something good to like believe happened. Like maybe you saw him with someone and you misinterpreted what you saw, or, I don't know. An ex approaches you and threatens you. I don't know, something other than we didn't really talk about it. It just happened and you both suck. How about that?
Yeah. Yeah, no, that's what it is. They both just suck at everything. They can't communicate. They are really terrible to their friends. They're not really smart or kind to their family members. They lie a lot. I guess typical slasher movie stuff, maybe, I guess.
I don't know.
I
don't know. But, to give credit when credit is due, I was impressed to see that the main character was Brown, the brown girl.
Mm-hmm.
You know, she's a mixed Black and Hawaiian.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of like
fantastic.
Kind of like Barack Obama. But
they made that joke in the book.
Yes.
They also made the jokes where they're like, the killer's targeting all these people. What makes you so different? She goes, well, I'm Black. Mm-hmm. And everybody's like, yeah, I didn't want to point that out, but that does make you different from everybody else in our school.
Right. Because this takes place in Nebraska, of all places. WTF? I've never been
all
to Nebraska.
Corn fields.
No hate to people who live in Nebraska, but I would never go there unless I was banished there like this character was. I'm like, I don't know nothing about Nebraska at all, except no one looks like me. And this book reinforces it.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know. But you could have had scary ass cornfields in the backwoods of Michigan, hell, or Chicago area. Or, I don't know.
Well, I think it had to be a small town because the cops had to be like so incompetent and so few of them. And in the book, they call them the National Guard after like 6 murders or something. Like it's at the very end of the book when they finally call in help. But I don't know, like it felt weirdly necessary, but also just really fucked up too.
Yeah.
So
the whole thing was weird. And there was that other kid that got murdered who was also, what was he? He was something. That kid who got murdered in his room, his game room or whatever.
Was he Mexican?
Yeah, I feel like he was some Hispanic descent, something like that. And I'm like, okay, well, there's one more.
Yeah.
Yep. I don't know. I thought
I have a very
Go ahead, you go.
Oh, I was going to say I have a very lengthy rant about Rodrigo's death in the movie as compared to the book. And like I can rant. So
okay, well, let's talk about that because I was going to say I thought the deaths were written pretty well. I felt they were pretty gory and pretty like the way the killer would move things around and like kind of fuck with them a little bit before he killed them. I thought that was pretty interesting and genius, actually. Just make them paranoid enough to catch them off guard. But let's talk about his death specifically. What's your rant, Casey?
Oh, okay. So here we go. In the movie, they tried to get very political. And for the first 2 deaths, it was very political. The first guy was homophobic. The second woman was very fucking racist and white supremacist and probably a Nazi. But then Rodrigo, our Latino, our only other person of color, is murdered because he's a pill popper. And I'm using air quotes with people who can't see me. And he's literally like, yeah, I only take this because I have anxiety. I need to get out of my head. It's my mother's pills. I don't do it that often. But then he's murdered for it. Like,
why didn't
you
they keep his
piece of shit?
Why didn't they keep his story from the book? Because in the book, he was like an online troll going after women and shit. That made more sense.
He was a total asshole in the book. And he even said like sexist, shitty things to people. Yeah. He wasn't portrayed that way at all in the movie. And I was like, yay, I kind of like him. And really, like that was the point where the movie went from decent to just really fucked up and stupid. Like that was the point where they completely, like that was, no.
They lost you.
No, they lost me at that point. Because I was like, there's no reason for him to kill Rodrigo. Rodrigo hasn't done anything. Being addicted to pills is a cry for help, and you should help him, not murder him. He's not selling the drugs. No, you do more drugs than he does.
He's not hurting anyone but himself.
Exactly.
So why would that's not a reason?
There was absolutely no reason for this murder, which makes me think that the murderer is actually racist himself. Which is just, the antithesis of the reasons why he murdered the other 2 students. Like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
What the fuck? Since you invented all these new characters, you could have killed somebody else off. You could have done something really bad. I don't know.
Yeah.
It was, yeah, that was the turning point. Rodrigo should not have died in the movie.
Mm-hmm.
He kind of tried to start redeeming himself in the book. I kind of believe it. I don't know.
And in the book, he wasn't really a part of their clique per se. He was just someone else in the school.
Yeah, the movie made up a bunch of characters and then shoved them all together. And I was like, I guess for timing purposes, so you don't have to go out and find all these people. But it was annoying.
And then the one friend, I feel like she's white in the book, but they made her black on screen.
She was definitely white in the book because Makani was the only black person. But I appreciated that they at least tried to, diversify a little bit more in the movie. Although her death in the book was shocking. Yeah. I did not expect that. I had to reread that paragraph a few times to understand that she got her throat slit in half a second as the murderer was running away.
Yeah.
How is this happening? Is running, but then her neck is gone.
Look, girl, that's the same thing I got caught up on. I'm like, wait, did she die? I'm like, wait a minute, let me go back. She died.
Yeah, she died. How did she die? He was running away. He only stabbed this one person in the leg, but he got her entire fucking neck gone. What the? Several of those deaths at the end did not make sense. Yeah. And Ollie, to skip to the very end, he got stabbed multiple times in the back, but still lived.
And that's the thing at the very end. I was like, wait, is she letting us think what we want to think and we think he lived? Or did she literally mean it's okay and he lived? They were on the ground the last scene.
Yeah. I think that meant he was alive and okay and going to be fine and they'd all live happily ever after. But he got stabbed multiple times.
That's why I didn't make sense to me.
Yeah.
But that's why I was like, well, is that supposed to be bittersweet? They didn't really... I don't know. I just thought the boy should have died based on what happened to him. And it just seemed like it'd be okay. I'm like, it is? I don't know.
Yeah. No, it's almost like she killed him off. And then maybe her friend or editor or somebody was like, nope, you can't kill her. Or maybe even she freaked out at the end. Was like, no, I can't kill him. Got to make him alive at the very end. And ta-da, he somehow survived multiple stabbings by a serial killer / hunter who knows how to kill people and literally just murdered and gutted a bunch of people without even really trying to. And the whole thing is just what the fuck? What the fuck?
God. Oh my God. Okay.
What the fuck?
What the fuck? Yeah, that was crazy. I didn't like the end.
I didn't like the end of the movie either.
Me neither.
So the movie totally changed who the killer was. Although, okay, so they tried to make that Uber driver look guilty and they gave him the same name. It was Dave.
Right.
And Dave is the killer in the book. So you're like, okay.
Right.
Okay. I think you're super guilty. You look really creepy, but you're also guilty. But it turned out to be their white friend who was just angry that he had privilege and that his dad was a Nazi.
He was angry that he was failing and he had privilege. And I don't know, maybe he was angry that his dad was a Nazi too, because he could not wait to stick that knife in his daddy. And then he was mad because his little speech got cut short. The dumbest shit ever.
It was so dumb. And it made no sense. Okay, so this movie, whoever wrote this movie, they had a strong start. I want to give them credit for that. They had a strong start. Then they killed off Rodrigo and everything just went to shit. Because then they're like, okay, well, we got to make Ollie look super guilty. We got to make Makani, also look super guilty and reveal her big secret. But now we got to wrap everything up in 5 minutes. Okay, it's over.
Yeah.
And that's the movie.
Boom. It's kind of shitty.
Which, it's really shitty. It really is. Like, it could have been such a great political statement. It could have been so much better. They could have followed the book a little bit more. Like, I'm glad they changed up some stuff, but they could have gone back to the actual content and done a little bit of more with the murderers or the murderer.
Yeah.
We don't know why this dude killed, just because his dad's crazy and white privilege, but the murderer in the book killed because he didn't want people to leave him or leave the town.
Which was weird because he barely knew the people he was killing anyway. Like, just people he thought that would leave. Like,
I mean, they were basically all set to go. Katie, who I felt really bad for Katie in the movie. She became like really fucking racist, but I actually kind of liked her in the book.
Yeah.
She was the one who was taking care of her younger siblings,
yeah,
you know, cooking them dinner. And when she was being murdered, she refused to scream because she didn't want to wake them
the
up.
twins. Yeah, that was,
I was like,
oh, like, damn.
Poor girl.
She went down like I was like, whoa, she bowed it. She like, you're not going to get the best of me. I'm like, wow.
She fought back hard.
Yeah.
And then died brutally anyway.
Yeah.
But in the movie, you know, she's this raging racist psychopath. So I don't know. Like, there was so much that they could have done with this movie. And they just didn't.
They just didn't. Yeah, there was a lot of changes, not for the better.
Mm-mm.
They could have kept some more things from the book, I think, and it would have been better. But also at the same time, I understand them wanting to remove some of the like cute, fluffy stuff that the book had. That made sense to remove. I
mean, okay, so I really appreciated the fact that Ollie like tried to make the puzzle with her grandma. It was very boring, but it was very cute for them. And then when she looks at the puzzle and the puzzle is done and she's like, it was not fucking done before we went and had sex. There's someone in my house right now. That was a really shocking moment. So I liked that in the book, but I understand why they cut it out of the movie.
Yeah, I don't think it needs it, but you know, all romance authors think everything needs romance.
Today's episode is brought to you by the Shelf Addiction merch store. Check out all the bookish t-shirts, notebooks, mugs, and more. Don't miss out on these original designs, perfect for any book nerd. Support the podcast and visit shelfaddiction.com/merch and pick up your next favorite bookish item.
Well, let's talk a little bit about the main character, Makani. What do you think about her situation? Like, so she ended up being like sent to her grandmother's house by parents that are detached and they fucking hate her, seems like, you know?
Yeah, psychologically abusive, emotionally abusive.
They don't want to deal with her, so they just sent her off.
Super fucked up.
Yeah.
Super fucked up parenting.
And like her mother is the fucking worst thing on the planet because so what happens, you guys, if you haven't read the book, so it's like this haze night that her varsity swim team does to all the new varsity people. And it's this whole thing. They know they do it every year. Parents buy them alcohol for this. Parents warn their children when they're coming so they can be dressed cute and be ready. Did Makani's mother say anything? No, the bitch didn't. She let her ass be drug out of there unawares, looking crazy. What kind of mother are you?
A shitty one. A really shitty one.
It's a mess.
It was. It was really fucked up. The whole thing was really fucked up. And then the bad thing that happened after hours of basically torture, you know, they're being force-fed alcohol, they're having dog food thrown at them,
God,
honey poured on them. At one point they get Tabasco poured in their eyeballs.
Yes.
Like, all this really nasty shit is happening to them. But then Makani takes a knife and cuts her friend's hair off.
Yeah.
And she's the one who's arrested.
Right. So
she's the one who has to go in front of the judge. She's the one who gets banished.
Just because she cut her hair off.
Mm-hmm.
She walked her ass into the ocean by herself, but no one went to get her. I think she felt guilty because she didn't attempt to help her. She just let her walk into the ocean.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, but these women or girls were the one scene, you guys, the one scene. I listened to this on audiobook and I swear the narrator was so fucking legit. I'm not playing. When they had the word, the C word, the bitch word, and all that on their foreheads, and they're like, "What's your name, bitch?" I'm like, "Oh my God." She's like, "Makani, bitch, Drake." I'm like, "Oh my God." I felt like I was there. I'm like, "Oh shit."
That's awesome. And I had to reread the scene a couple times to follow what was happening and try to figure out why this was so fucked up for Makani, but nobody else. Like, none of the adults who bought the alcohol got in trouble. None of the girls literally forcing alcohol down the other girls' throats got in trouble.
Right.
Pouring tobacco sauce on your eyeballs didn't get you in trouble. Like, there's so much about this whole thing that's fucked up. And yet this one girl who's super drunk, you know, disoriented, tortured, she's the one who's going to jail and in front of the judge. Like,
they probably blamed it on her. And the team says it was her. So
I guess. But still.
And this was like the worst kept secret. Everyone knew they were doing this every fucking year.
Yeah. No, I kept thinking that something worse was going to happen, that she was actually going to push somebody into the fire, or that somebody was going to die, or something like super tragic like that.
Yeah.
And thankfully they made that the case in the movie.
Yeah.
She pushed her friend into the fire.
Yeah.
Her friend lived. But
with a bunch of burns. Yeah. That would have been like, to me, that is on purpose. Cutting someone's beloved hair off. Yes, it is a form of you attacked her, but you did not drown her. So I don't know.
Like, the whole thing was just...
It's a mess. I cannot believe people are still doing this shit, even though all the stories and all the, you know, hazing is scary. In some groups, associations, clubs, whatever, they get real rowdy with this shit like they did.
That's why I never joined a sorority, because I don't want to go through hazing. Like, nope. I don't want to have Tabasco poured on my eyeballs. I will go read a book about a murderer instead. Thank you very much.
You know, I got a sorority story, but I'm going to save it. I'm going to save it for another after show. We're not going to do one today, I don't think, but I'm going to save it for Patreon. You don't want to miss that story time.
Yes.
It'll be a good one. And it's going to match this book. But nobody died and no one drowned.
Oh, good.
And no one was set on fire. So.
Yay. Yeah, no, the whole time, you know, in the book, she's like, "Oh my God, I'm so guilty. I did this terrible thing. I deserve to be banished. I deserve to be murdered because I'm a terrible person." And like, I understand depression and anxiety lie to you. And, you know, when the whole world turns on you, it makes you feel like a really bad person. Parents treat you like shit. Like, I understand that. Yeah. But also as a reader, I felt very let down. Like,
that's all you did? Yeah.
That's all you did?
And man, I mean, she was really mad at that. She was really mad at her. That's supposed to be her girl. And you didn't, she's like, we just text each other. You didn't say shit to me. And you know my mother is bad with this kind of stuff. You didn't say not one word. You got me out here looking dumb too. That's how she felt.
Yeah.
And I don't blame her. But I'm like, you acting like you just murdered someone though.
Yeah. She was definitely acting like she had murdered somebody and deserved to be murdered too. And I was like, why?
And the town was acting like she was the ringleader, like she's the ringleader of the thing. Like, what the hell?
No.
What is this
No,
garbage?
you didn't plan any of this.
No.
Anyway, yeah, that was in the book. It was weak. That was one thing I was really glad they changed for the movie was that she actually pushed her friend into the fire. Because that's like, yeah, that's really fucked up and awful. And even though it was an accident, still like
that could be like manslaughter or something if she died. Like you didn't premeditate it, but shit, that was lethal. You killed somebody.
Yep.
Oh.
So yeah. Yeah. That was like the one thing the movie got right. That I appreciated that they changed.
And I did not like how, like in the book, I did kind of like that showdown between the killer and her and Ollie in the house, and his ass was naked running around. And then the grandmother bust in and jump on the guy's back. I'm like, man, that was cool. They didn't do none of that in the movie.
No. The grandma had a really decent character arc in the book. You know, she attacks the fucking killer. She has to go to the hospital, but does she get anything in the movie? No. You forget about her after like 2 seconds.
Yeah. Which I didn't like. I'm like, man, that was a goal. Who wouldn't want to see a grandma jump on the killer's back while this naked dude running around? That could have been like, good TV.
They decided to make Ollie look really fucking suspicious in the movie.
Yeah.
And then ended it without explaining anything. Like, why was he arrested? Right. Why was he let go if they arrested him? What was happening? You know, in the movie, he knew exactly what she had done and how terrible she was and, you know, her real last name and all of this stuff. In the book, he was super cute and blushing and going like, yeah, I did Google you, but I didn't find anything.
I know, right?
And
he was much cuter in the book. I feel like the book version.
Much cuter in the book.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like there's this guy I follow on TikTok who dresses up like Peter Pan, and he's basically what I pictured Ollie as. And I'm like, you're just so cute. I just want to pinch your cheeks. Like, yeah, no, he was super cute in the book. And then in the movie, they're like, no, we got to make him look like a scarecrow. We got to make him look really evil. We got to make him super suspicious. But no, he's not suspicious anymore. We got to solve the case in 2 minutes.
Oh my God.
I'm driving through a cornfield that's on fire, just in certain areas.
Right.
But not the rest of it. Because that makes sense.
I'm sorry. This was just like not good on both fronts. So would not recommend.
Sorry, I picked it.
Not. But if you're gonna do it, I definitely recommend the audiobook. I'm not playing. Bonnie Turbin is so freaking good as a narrator. She has won awards. She's so damn good. And it delivers. That scene, I swear, I'm like, oh my God.
I might have to go listen to that scene because on paper it just felt so flat. And I was like, wait, what's happening? I don't know. When is the murder coming? Oh, wait, there's no murder. Okay. No murder. She picked up like, oh, she's going to stab her friend. No, it's just the hair.
That whole scene is them just getting completely wasted and being forced to have drinks. Like if they answer to any other name than the name written on their forehead. And McConaughey's was bitch.
Yeah, I mean, like probably got alcohol poisoning with all of the shots that they were being forced to take. And they weren't eating any food with all of this alcohol. They were having dog food thrown on them and honey poured in their hair. And again, the Tabasco sauce in their eyeballs. Like,
why? Why would you do that?
Why would you torture your teammates like this at all? The whole thing is just super fucked.
It is. I don't like it. I'm like, I wish she had done something more serious in the book, but
yeah,
I feel like all these reviews, some of them were tricking me because I did scroll through some of the reviews. These are fangirls and boys. I'm telling you.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
A couple people didn't like it. A couple people who actually read horror and enjoy horror, they're the ones that didn't like it.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
I typically don't read horror or thriller, but I was like, okay, there's a lot lacking here. There's just a lot that needs to be fixed.
Oh, yeah, there was a lot.
Or changed or rewritten.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know who wrote the movie script, but come on, guys.
I think it was two dudes, actually.
Oh, God. Of course it was. Are they white dudes? Are they complaining about their privilege?
I don't know. Let's see. Yeah, I feel like I just got finished. I watched it yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, who is it? Because I was looking to see who did the screenplay of it. And of course, Henry Gayden did the screenplay.
Don't know him.
Yeah, I don't know him either. I don't know. I did recognize the lady who played Makani, though. She's been in stuff.
She was in The Walking Dead.
Yeah, she was in The Walking Dead for a hot minute.
Mm-hmm. I look her up.
She was in The Perfectionist for a hot minute.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, she was in The Walking Dead for 3 seasons. Wow. I barely remembered her. She was in the one Oceanside group that just fucking disappeared. It's funny. If you listen to my other podcast where we talk about The Walking Dead, my co-host over there, Lisa, and I always talk about what the fuck happened to Oceanside. That whole group just disappeared.
Well, now they're here in Nebraska getting murdered.
Apparently. A mess. Oh, gosh. Okay. I'm like, why she looks so familiar? Well, duh. Okay. Yeah. All right. So let's rate the book and then let's rate the movie.
Mm-hmm. Do you want to go first or do you want me to go first?
I'll go first.
Okay.
Why not? So the book, as I said, I felt like it was a long start, a slow start, pretty close to a snooze fest for a while. And then the killer just shows up and then things get interesting after that. But the motivation, like we talked about the motivation of Michaela, like her reasoning didn't really click. I don't know. None of it just gelled for me. I thought it was okay. But I would never recommend it. So for that, I'm going to rate it a 2 out of 5. The adaptation, that shit was fucking awful. It was awful. I don't think I liked anything really about it. I turned it on. I was watching it. I'm like, is it almost over?
Yeah. You started and then it's over. Like, it's too short.
Yeah. So I'm going to actually give the movie 1 out of 5. I think the book was a little bit better. Although I did like how the movie cut some stuff out. Or for the story as a whole, they should have taken more from the book instead of switching shit all completely around completely. Yeah. So there you go. What do you say, Casey?
So I'm just a little bit nicer. I was going to rate the book 3 stars. If I could give it half, it'd be 2.5, but I'll round up because I enjoyed it. Like, it was decent. It wasn't the best. I'm never going to recommend it. Maybe I should give it 2 stars because of that. But it's fine. It wasn't the worst thing I've ever read. I've read much, much worse. But so 3 stars. But then the movie, absolutely worse than the book. 2 stars all the way. Because again, I feel like it had a solid start. And if they had kept that momentum up, if they'd kept it really fucking actually political, instead of the bullshit they pulled, if they hadn't killed off Rodrigo, if, I really liked that Makani pushed her friend into the fire. I thought that was great. If they'd given any sort of middle or ending to this movie, it could have been better. 2 stars. Nah.
You have it. She was generous. I was not.
Yeah. Like, I hope we get more book adaptations that are good. I hope we get more diverse characters. there was a trans character in this book who didn't die. Yay! But they had to have a gay character who kind of mostly died, maybe. He got stabbed in the stomach, so who knows? Maybe he's alive, maybe he's dead. Like, what are you doing?
I don't know. Didn't he go to NASA or something? He got to NASA program.
That was the transgender. I'm talking about the gay guy who was beaten up by the football team. Oh, he later got stabbed in the stomach, but I don't know if he lived or died because, they don't tell you. So,
yes, we can guess. He lived because we said so.
He lived. Yeah. Okay. All the gay people lived. It's fine.
Now, if you're curious about something that is actually good, I'm just going to throw this out there. It's not an adaptation that I know about, but I literally just finished watching this on Netflix a couple of hours ago, and it's freaking good. It's called Hypnotic.
Ooh.
It's freaking good. It's about, now that is a real suspense story. About this woman who goes to a therapist who talks her into hypnotherapy. And then suddenly she is losing memory. Like she is losing bits of time. What's happening in that time? Is he doing something to you while you were in hypnotherapy? What is it? It was good. It was very suspenseful. And I'm like, wow, so easy to make a suspenseful movie, apparently. But some people just don't.
These people. Fun fact: I have been hypnotized, but I always remember everything that happens.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Maybe we'll do a bonus. I think so. I feel like I can go into it later. We'll do a bonus episode where you talk about your sorority, and I'll talk about my hypnotherapy.
Okay, bet. Join us on Patreon so you don't miss out. We'll probably do it soon so we don't forget.
It'll be fun.
Yeah.
It'll be fun.
Wow. Okay. I got to hear all about that. I'm looking forward to it. All right, you guys. I think we're done for today. What do you think, Casey?
I think we're done. I think we roasted this book. Lord. Again, I'm so sorry that I'm picking all these really terrible books and movies and shit.
I mean, it was bad, but like I said, the narrator saved it she saved it and gave it 2. I would have gave it 1 if it wasn't for the narrator.
Good. I'm glad she saved it for you.
But not by much. Still, it's a 2. 2's not good.
2 stars.
Whatever. It is what it is, y'all. So we'll see you in the next episode. We'll be back with something else bookish next month. And don't forget us on the fantasy series. We're still doing that.
Yes.
So read along with us. Join us on Shelf Addiction Official or over on the Book Clubs app with a Z. The links are in the show notes. We'll catch you next time. And until then, happy reading. Bye, guys.
Bye, everybody.
If you enjoyed today's episode and would like to show your support, there are a few things you can do. Head on over to Apple Podcasts and leave a positive 5-star review, or like this episode on your favorite podcast player. It seems so simple, but it really helps me out. You can share this podcast with other book nerd friends or on your favorite social media space. You can also join the Shelf Addiction Patreon family. For as little as $2 a month, you will help us produce even more awesome content for your ears. You can also consider joining the Shelf Addiction Official Facebook group, where we talk all things bookish and more in a safe space. The Shelf Addiction podcast is a part of the Nerdy Maven Network. You can also reach us via email at info@shelfaddiction.com. Thank you for listening.